This podcast is brought to you by the Heldridge Hotel, New Brunswick's only 4-star hotel and a preferred hotel of Rutgers football fans. The Heldridge helps you make the most of your game day weekend, providing premium accommodations in the cultural heart of downtown New Brunswick. Restaurants, bars, theaters, parks, museums, and more are only steps away. Whether you're traveling alone or with a large group, book your stay at the Heldridge and make the most of your game day weekend. Visit theheldridge.com today.
From NJ.com and the Heldridge Hotel, welcome to the Rutgers Rant, your one-stop podcast for the Scarlet Knights. With your host, Steve Politi, and Rutgers insider Brian Fonseca. Let's start shopping.
Hello all. Greetings from Jersey Mike's Arena. I apologize for the lights. Not much I can do there, but I don't think most of you care, considering that I'm speaking to you shortly after Rutgers defeats Oregon in overtime. A controversial end to regulation is overcome with a solid finish from Rutgers, which earns its first Big Ten win of the year. Rutgers will officially not go over in the Big Ten. That was probably never going to happen. Again, law of averages we talked about many times, but nonetheless, Rutgers has got its first Big Ten win, and it was a game they had to win considering the way that regulation ended. We'll get to that in a bit. We'll answer the questions you guys have. I appreciate all of you in the live chat already. I already thought this would be a bit of a lively post-game show considering the way the game ended. So we got a lot to talk about. We'll start big picture. This was important as a result for Rutgers to get its first Big Ten win, no doubt about it. The longer it took for that to happen, the longer the pressure would mount, the longer it would be a thing. Now they play Northwestern Sunday in a winnable game, another winnable home game. They might not have another one for a while after that one, but could be a pretty good week for Rutgers if they're able to cash in on this game and win against Northwestern in that game, because I don't think they have much of a fighting chance against Illinois on Thursday, if I'm being honest with you. But Rutgers wins. They win with a big overtime from Darren Buchanan. They win with a big performance from Tariq Francis, and they won because they got to the free throw line a ton. They shot 34 free throws and made 30 of them. This is not your father's Rutgers, apparently, because they are shooting at a respectable, let's see the clip for the season on free throws, 72.7 on the year. It's only 170th nationally, I think it said, 150th nationally, 56th nationally. So it's not great, but it's significantly better than what Rutgers has had for quite a long time. So let's get to the moment everyone wants to talk about, the topic that is probably the most interesting about this game, that has kind of gotten people that weren't watching this game, and there weren't a lot of people watching Rutgers-Oregon on Peacock. But the phantom foul at the end of regulation on Lino Mark on a rebound after he missed the second free throw, a free throw that if he had made, Rutgers would be up 4 with 17 seconds left, and the game would be over. Nonetheless, a controversial call, no doubt. I've watched the times, and I really am struggling to see where the foul is. The officiating from you guys might have gotten a better view on TV. I will have that caveat. But from up in the press box, it looked pretty rough on both sides. Obviously, the Lino Mark call is the most important because it happened in a crucial time and essentially decided that the game would go to overtime, right? Oregon still had to make a 3, which we'll get to in a bit, but it had a big impact on the game. But earlier in the game, Jermichael Davis got a whistle. There was a foul called against him when nobody touched him. He tripped on his own 2 feet trying to cross midcourt. Nobody touched him. And there were a couple of other ticky-tack calls like that. Dana Altman and Steve Peichel were riding the refs, particularly the female ref, all night long. It was the female ref. I mentioned that because she was the one that called the foul on Lino Mark. I should get her name, and her name was Amy Bonner. She made the call that ultimately won't matter as much because Rutgers won the game, but it resulted in some of the loudest boos and ref you suck chants that I've heard at this place in a long time. That was probably the loudest the mic's been all year, to be honest with you, and this place was not full by any means. I mean, 6,000 at the absolute most. The corners of the 200s were empty. And there were a lot of pockets in the student section, not the most filled out crowd. Obviously, there was still a sellout, 8,000 strong. I think there were less than 8,000 seats filled, but that's an aside. Now, all that being said, we can agree that the foul call was egregious, and ultimately, you would think that if Lino Mark does get that rebound and gets fouled again, he'll make one of two and the game is put away. That being said, Lino Mark was at the free throw line with a chance to put them up 4 with 17 seconds left, and he missed the free throw, which is why he had a chance to get the rebound. They make a foul call against Rutgers. Oregon still has to go on the other side of the court and hit a three. They missed their first three, so Rutgers defends the first three well, and they get an offensive rebound. That was their I don't know if it was they got an overtime or not, but Oregon finished with 16 offensive rebounds, and they got 21 second chance points. Rutgers was getting killed on the boards, and it almost cost them at the end of the game. Dr. Josh Fink says that he was sitting courtside tonight. Sick brag. Josh Fink, just kidding, doctor. He was sitting courtside tonight, and he said the phantom call was beyond ridiculous. You had a better view than I did. I did see the TV replay, but that's one angle. Listen, I'll take your guys' word for it. I would love to hear from other people that were in the arena, what they saw, what they thought. I think I know what you guys think, but I'd still love to hear it nonetheless. Put it in the chat. So, yeah, again, it wasn't a particularly Rutgers home whistle, but this was a game that were 40 fouls called, a little ticky-tacky at times for a game that wasn't overly physical. I just thought the officiating was bad overall. I don't think there was a particular anti-Rutgers bias here. I just think that, obviously the foul call came at a rough time, but I just don't think officiating would have decided this game. I think that poor offensive rebounding and poor three-point defense, Oregon shot 13 of 32 on threes. That would have done Rutgers in. But Rutgers rebounded and won because they shot 30 of 34 on free throws. Again, they got to the free throw line a ton, and a lot of that was Tariq Francis, who scored 30 points shooting from the field, 10 of 11 shooting from the free throw line. Hit some tough shots, and was very crafty in that 4 times, I want to say, he was able to get past the defender, pump fake, have them jump, and he runs into them, gets the foul, gets to the free throw line. That's crafty stuff. That's the kind of stuff you have to do when you're a bit undersized. And he acknowledged that because he's undersized, guys want to block his shot. And he uses that to his advantage, which I thought was pretty smart of him. Yes, I think Rutgers has found a go-to guy, a go-to scorer. We thought that would be Dylan Grant. So far, recently, he has not been. He only had 6 points tonight, all of them on free throws. He went 0 of 4 from the floor, 0 of 3 on threes. He had 4 fouls, and he had 1 rebound. And I think that's why he sat for 8 straight minutes at a crucial point in the second half. I just don't think he's giving Rutgers what Steve Pikiell wants from him, which is rebounding, which is interior defense, and which is more aggressiveness in scoring and getting to the rim and creating a shot and creating something. And if you don't score when you go to the rim, you get to the free throw line. And he's just not giving any of that. I thought he's been a bit disappointing. Excuse me. Recently, he had some of that in the early games, but recently has been a bit disappointing. So I think that's why, again, he sat a lot. And in his absence, Tariq Francis has really stepped up. And I certainly agree with Callie Blues, who says that I don't know if he deserves an apology. That might be a little strong, but I agree that he's shown himself to be a dog, and he's been Rutgers' best player, certainly offensively, for throughout the season. I think that's pretty undisputable. He was the best player on the court. I think the second best player on the court for Rutgers was Lino Mark. Mic issue. Can you guys hear me? I'm gonna need you guys to. We need you guys to tell me if you can hear me or not. Can you guys hear me? My mic disconnected. How do I sound? Tom says my audio is awful. Is it awful now, or was it awful this whole time and you guys just didn't tell me? Because that's kind of important. Okay, you guys are saying yes. Yes, as in you guys can hear me, or yes, my audio is bad. I'm going to need a little bit more clarification because I don't want to ramble on here for a little bit. And okay, good. Linda's Conroy says that I'm good now. Thank you. I appreciate it. Was it bad before? If it was bad before, I apologize. Should be fine now. Anyway, so Dylan Grant had 2 fouls, not 4. I apologize. I misread. He drew 4 fouls. As I was saying, Lino Mark, the line wasn't great. He had 13 points on 3 of 6 shooting, 7 of 8 for free throws. Decent enough offensively. But what really stuck out was his defense, flying all over the place, causing havoc, forcing. Oregon didn't commit that many turnovers. They had how many turnovers did Oregon commit? Oregon committed 17 turnovers. It's a lot of turnovers, and a lot of that was because of guys like Lino Mark and everyone else flying around, and that played a major difference. And let's not kid ourselves. Rutgers did not play great defensively. They gave up 85 points. Again, Oregon was great shooting from 3, but they did enough. Lino Mark is chaos. Played a big factor in Rutgers turning things around in the second half and ultimately winning the game. He had those 2 big sequences in the Tom. Rutgers only had 7 turnovers. Rutgers had Lino Mark had the big sequences at the end of the first half, and had it not been for the foul call, he really would have won the game in regulation with his hustle. And I think that the hustle was really appreciated by the crowd as usual. Not only was Lino Mark running around, JaMychal Davis got a loose ball in the back corner down there, and the place went nuts. So I think that is the kind of thing that people really appreciate in the crowd. Okay. Questions. Let me run through what you guys said earlier in the chat. Again, I apologize if my audio wasn't great in the beginning. It always seems to happen in games that people want to talk about. Bit of a disaster, and it doesn't help if the lights aren't great, but we roll on. I'm not going to post the first misogynistic comment up top. I'll let you guys look through what this person said. Josh Fink says that our guys are playing Pico ball, solid defense, and great team rebounding. Biddle deserves an award. Not for his ability, more so for his look. Yes, he looked like when you see these baseball cards of players from the 1980s who are 25 years old and they look 100. That's kind of what Nate Biddle reminds me of. But yeah, he played great. And he had 28 points on 11 of 21 shooting, hit 3 threes as a 7-foot guy. And then Wei Lin deserves a shout out. The Chinese guard for Oregon did not play particularly well going into the game, but with Oregon's best player out, Jackson, whose name I can't remember the last name, he scored 23 points on 8 of 14 shooting, 6 of 12 on threes. He was 21% entering the day. So Wei Lee, shout out to him. Shout out to Nate Biddle. They had a good game. I kind of disagree with the Pico ball deal. I agree that they played hard defensively the way vintage Pico ball is, no doubt about that. And they forced 17 turnovers, which is really the bright spot defensively. They gave up 85 points. They gave up a ton of offensive rebounds and second chance points. They only gave up, they gave up 32 points in the paint. So I would not say they played well defensively, but they looked the part effort-wise, and they did enough offensively to make up for the defense. Tom says that this group really needed the win. Francis had an awesome game. Still rebounded by 10, but turnovers were kept to a minimum. That difference, forcing turnovers and scoring 26 points off of them, while only committing 7 turnovers and giving up 7 points off turnovers, that is a very big distance that made a big difference for Rutgers. So I agree. And again, going back to, I'll reiterate this point because it might have been choppy in the beginning when I said it, getting the win, getting the first Big Ten win, getting off the schneid, huge, so that the losses don't pile up, and huge to win a game that was yours that you could have lost in overtime because of a phantom call. That would be something that really sticks in your craw, not only for the players but for the fan base. So good to win that game for Rutgers. I think you avoid something haunting you for the next week or so. Dr. Josh Fink says there are 1 or 2 sequences where the Ducks got those extra rebounds, otherwise an improvement. Again, I disagree. There was one play where they got 3 offensive rebounds and didn't get a putback, but most of the time they get the offensive rebounds and would score. Again, went through Lino. He is improving game by game. I agree. I would take that with a grain of salt because some guys have had flashes of performances and have not built on that. Harun Zerno had some really good games, like a 3 or 4 game stretch earlier, and he's really struggled since. But I agree. Lino's performance was encouraging, and he that you want to see develop throughout the year. What I will say about Lino, very limited offensively, has not hit a three this year, is timid to shoot mid-range 2-pointers, and was, until the end, was really timid going to the rim. Twice he got to the rim, he had a chance to go up and score, and he passed it out. The first time got some boos and some reaction from the Rutgers bench. The second time, he was driving to the rim, and an Oregon defender was so confident he wouldn't go up for the layup that he just immediately cheated for the three-point shooter, which is where Lino Mark passed the ball. He would have had a free lane to the rim if he had just gone, but so predictably he threw it out. And later in the game, he corrected that, became aggressive, took advantage, got the rim, and finished, and that played a big part in Rutgers pulling away a bit in regulation. Free throws were terrific. Yes. Let me look at it now while this is the topic. Rutgers is shooting again. Where is it? They're shooting 72.7% on free throws. That would be by far the best of the Steve Pikiell era. Last year was the best at 71.8%. 72.7% would be almost an entire percentage point better. And that 72.7% would be the best free throw shooting percentage for Rutgers of the Ken Pom era. I would have to look up where it would stand historically. I know Aaron Brightman did some research on that early last season. I'd have to look back on that. Grant did not play. We went over this earlier, but he didn't play much in the second half because he was not aggressive enough offensively. He only took 3 shots in the first half, all threes. He was not aggressive enough on the boards, 1 rebound, and he was not aggressive enough defensively against their bigs. I just don't think he's giving them the aggression that Rutgers wants, that Steve Pikiell wants on both ends, that you want from your go-to guy. He's been a bit disappointing to start Big Ten play, and I think that's going to be something that Steve Pikiell and the staff will hammer into him because they need Dylan Grant to be good to have chances in these games. Obviously, they didn't need it today, but I don't think Tariq Francis is going to score 30 points every game, and I don't think Rutgers is going to get to the free throw line 34 every game. And we'll have some notes on that later. Going through again, good, a huge win, scrappy win. People are excited about the win. Going through the audio stuff. Gamers for Life asked me what I think about Ruben Amorim. This is a bit of an aside, but I will take advantage to talk about it. Ruben Amorim coached at Sporting, the best coach, one of the best coaches in the club's history, the best coach of my lifetime by far, won 2 titles and played a big part of last year's title before he left to Manchester United, was fired by Manchester United this morning. I will say this. He's stubborn. He's committed to his system. Manchester United knew that when they hired him. They gave him 14 months. They gave him a horrible squad. They did not reinforce it much this season. Despite that, he improved massively from last year. He has them in the top 5. He has them 3 points away from surpassing last year's champion, their rival Liverpool. He has them in contention for the Champions League. And if they got him any help in the midfield, if they got him a decent striker instead of Šeško, if they got him help, I was convinced Ruben Amorim would take Manchester United back to glory, but they didn't give him a chance because the organization is an absolute disaster. The ownership is a disaster. The club is an absolute disaster. There's no surprise that they have not won anything. They have not won a league title since Alex Ferguson retired. They need to get into a project, put some resources into it, and stay dedicated because this flip-flopping of coaches every year, maybe Ten Hag wasn't up to it. That was a good firing. You got to give Ruben another year. I understand the situation was untenable, but to let it get to that point was a disgrace. Thank you, Gamers for Life, for asking me that question. Got to make your free throws? Yes. This was my point earlier. Again, there's 2 sides of the same coin. I agree that the foul call at the end was unnecessary, was a bad call, and ultimately Rutgers should have won in overtime because that call shouldn't have been made. That being said, Rutgers has to hit, and they shot 30 for 34. It's hard to complain about the free throw shooting, but you have to hit a free throw when you have a chance to go up 2 possessions in the last 17 seconds. You got to do it. And Lino Mark didn't, and that left the door open. And maybe his aggression gave the referee a chance to make that call. Again, if you make the free throw, none of it is a question. And then on the other side, if you get a defensive rebound after Oregon misses the first 3-point. So, yes. Was the call bad? Yes. Should the game go into overtime? No. Part of that is because Rutgers didn't do its end to prevent it from overtime and making winning plays in crunch time. If they focused on dumping the ball more to Biddle, the outcome might have been a little different. Maybe. I think Rutgers tried to combat that, and I think that, yes, I agree they should have tried more, but that seems a little simplistic. I don't think it was a matter of them going away from it. I think Rutgers did a decent job getting back from it. Are You Who's Project says Buchanan stepped up. He's been pretty much a major disappointment, but deserves credit for his necessary contributions tonight. Big three and a dunk in crunch time. Could not agree more. I think, again, Tariq Francis was the best player. Lino Mark was the most encouraging. Darren Buchanan was the underrated MVP tonight. 13 points on 6 of 7 shooting. 3 rebounds, only 2 fouls committed, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal. I didn't like his shot selection in regulation, but he made the shots. He made the mid-range shots. He took his opportunities, and he made them. He really shot in overtime. A huge three to kind of give Rutgers some space, and then when he gets the ball back on the baseline, drives, dunks it emphatically, gets the crowd in, and again, gives Rutgers some separation. So huge plays. I totally agree with the entire sentiment. He's been bad. He's been a disappointment through the first couple months of the season, but in a big spot, he came up big. And if he's able to do that, again, he's not going to do that every night, but if he's able to play within himself the way he did today, and credit to him defensively as well. He did a decent job defensively, overextended a bit sometimes, a bit too aggressive, but that was kind of the ethos of this Rutgers team today. And it worked out, and he wasn't punished for it. And again, agree. Good shot from Are You Hoops Project. I thought he was really good. Basketball in a conference win. See, everyone that wasn't going to win a game anymore this year, as I told you guys, it's better to wait. I don't think Rutgers, this win doesn't convince me Rutgers will win many more of them. I still think 4 to 5 is the ceiling for this team, but I said it in our podcast earlier today. Getting the first win would be huge. They got it in a winnable game today, and not that I know I said they're playing with house money. I said that a bit tongue in cheek, but if you beat Northwestern on Sunday, then you're really playing from ahead. You're really playing well. Lino was great because half his game is hustle. I agree in the sense that that's good for the fans, it's good for the people in the fans. They enjoy it. I don't know if that's a sustainable way to win Big Ten games. I mean, offensively, he's going to have to contribute something, or Rutgers is playing 4-on-5, and Rutgers has too many guys on this roster that make you play 4-on-5 offensively. I mean, let's look at his numbers. His numbers offensively on the season. Lino Mark is shooting. He's only 14 on threes. He's 14 of 40 on twos, right? So overall, he's 14 of 57 from the floor. And he's just, as much as he's fast and able to win off the dribble, he's not doing much to get to the rim. So he's contributing defensively with his hustle. That's good. Maybe he'll get some hustle buckets. That's good. But Rutgers is going to need more from him offensively going forward if it wants to compete with teams, better teams, I should say, than Oregon. This is not a particularly good Oregon team, and it was without its leading scorer. So it's I'm not taking it as a positive. Let's pump the brakes on just how much it means. If you would have told me when we signed Tariq last year that he would have been the best player on this team by far, none of us would have believed it. J-Mac wrote that in the comments. I agree. I am pleasantly surprised with what he's been able to give offensively. He's had some good games in Big Ten play. He's been able to overcome his lack of size with some craftiness. Defensively, I thought he's been okay. He has not been the liability I think some people thought he would be. He has not been great by any means, but he's been, let's say, serviceable. Let's look at his turnover steal percentage numbers. 2.6%. I mean, not particularly great, but I would say respectable defensively. Are You Hoops Project says tonight's not the night to criticize one missed free throw. I understand the sentiment. 30 of 34 is very good. I think you take 30-34 every day of the week. Totally agree. I'm just saying, if you make that free throw, and that, just like every foul call matters, and every free throw matters, right? If the ref didn't call that foul at that spot, Rutgers would win. If Lino Mark makes that free throw, we're not talking about the foul call. Rutgers wins in regulation. Akiri asks, shout out Akiri, didn't get to see him today, but he says hello every time he passes by the press box, and I will always shout him out on the show. How many wins do you think this team gets now? I will still say Akiri addressed the thing, didn't get the shout out because he didn't make it to the game. Appreciate the clarification. I'll still say 4 to 5 wins is the ceiling. This doesn't change much. It was always a matter of which games are going to be the 4 to 5 if they get to there. I think Oregon was winnable. Northwestern next week is winnable. The 4 games against Maryland and Penn State, home and away, are winnable. Maybe Minnesota on the road is winnable, but Rutgers has a history of not winning in Minnesota, even when they're markedly better. So I will keep off on that. All right, guys, does anybody have anything else to say? We've gone 24 minutes now. A lot of you have tuned in because it's been exciting. Again, I appreciate you guys working with me on my audio issues. Please feel free to let me know in the comments next time if it's not great. But I guess just to go back through and things I haven't said, Herman Zerno bounced back a bit with 2 made threes, went 2 of 5. He ended a stretch he entered today having missed 15 straight threes, and he missed the first one today, so that was 16. Got any more from him, shooting wise? But again, 2 of 5 is not great, but better than what he had been. Going to JaMychal Davis, 5 of 6 on free throws is the highlight. 5 rebounds, that's what you want from your undersized guard. And 13 points, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal. Good performance from JaMychal Davis. Kept the troops calm. Good game, I would say. Again, Dylan Grant, you want more from him. Emmanuel Bole played 17 minutes, had 1 shot, 3 rebounds, 4 fouls. 2 fouls in the first 6 minutes. The second one was so silly, pushing a guy out of bounds, 94 feet from your own basket, so unnecessary, and that glued him to the bench and forced Bryce Dortch to play extended minutes in the first half. You can't afford that. With the lack of depth you have at center, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you cannot afford to have Emmanuel Bole on the bench for that long. And it's just not. He's got to be smarter than that. And fouls have been an issue for him his whole career. He's got to be smarter than that. It puts Bryce Dortch in a tough spot. Bryce Dortch did decently. He did have, ultimately it didn't matter because Oregon's final shot came after the buzzer, but he did have a good recovery to challenge the three-pointer right at the end of overtime. So shout out to him for that. He did get a tough rebound at the end. I think it was the end of regulation. It all kind of blended in. He finished with 5 rebounds, no points, but 4 steals. 4 steals. Bryce Dortch making his impact felt in the nitty-gritty. The other day he had a lot of blocks. Today he has 4 steals. So, again, he's not a guy that's going to do much offensively. He's one of these guys that really makes you play 4-on-5 offensively, but he makes up for it with his hustle defensively. I thought he did a decent job and is really doing a serviceable job of being an undersized center. Chris Mooley only played 5.5 minutes. Not much from him after a decent performance against Ohio State. Against Tariq Francis is the player of the game. Derek Buchanan is the most underrated contribution. Him and Lino Mark were the more encouraging guys. Keaton Powers got his first career start. Didn't really have a great showing. He had 3 points, 1 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 on threes, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 1 assist. I guess the positive takeaway is that he showed that he remained confident in his shot, still put up a shot, and that's what you want from a guy like that. If you're going to put him in the game, you want him to shoot. The other curious thing is Dennis Badilau, who Keaton Powers took his spot on the starting lineup, didn't play, and he wasn't on the availability report, so that was a coach's decision. It still feels like Steve Peichel is finding his best guys, but I think after Badilau struggled as much as he did, it's positive that he didn't play because it shows Steve Peichel is not afraid of making changes that need to be made. So that's all I got. Rutgers plays Illinois on Thursday. That will be at Illinois, a place they have never won, a place they've had some ugly losses. So that will be a more difficult assignment, obviously, than Oregon. I don't feel particularly confident in that game. It feels like one of those games where you try to put in a good effort and not lose by a lot. And then you come back on Sunday at home against Northwestern in a game that, again, is one of the 5 remaining games I think are winnable for this team, or I should say, I guess, more winnable. But if you guys are tapped out here at 27 minutes, I'm leaving open any more questions you guys may have, any more comments. We appreciate you guys doing this. I appreciate you guys tuning into this. I guess I'll end with football. A quick aside, Ian Strong lands at Cal, the first and only place he visited since entering the portal. Bit of a surprise. I'm not quite sure what Cal is offering him, but they have a stud quarterback who played as a true freshman, is coming back for his sophomore year. They have a first-year head coach who was a promising defensive coordinator at Oregon. And they play at an accessible conference in the ACC, so I could see Strong easily having a big year if he's the number 1 guy there. The conditions are set for that. Again, not the place I would have pegged him landing, but I think ultimately it'll be interesting to see what he does. I think he'll have a chance to make an impact. Again, if no one else has anything else, that's all I got for tonight. Thanks again. Oh, well, again, Paulie P., thank you for the question. What are our opinion on a new quarterback? We went into a little bit with our episode earlier with Steve Politi, but I think it's about as good as you can get given the conditions Rutgers had. Rutgers was probably never going to get a far and away better quarterback for multiple reasons. 1, financial allocation. 2, you feel good about AJ Serace, and if you get a guy who's a bona fide starter, he's going to transfer. Again, I'm not sure that was ever an option considering the financial constraints Rutgers has and how much quarterbacks cost. A reminder that Brendan Sorsby, who was a mediocre quarterback at Indiana 3 years ago, is now the number one quarterback in the portal, and he went to Texas Tech for $5 million. Rutgers is not in the market for those kind of guys. So considering all those conditions, this was the best Rutgers could get at quarterback. I think he is a lot in the Ethan Kaliakmanis mold of a former highly touted prospect, 4-star guy who is given new life at Rutgers under Kirk Shiraka. Obviously, he didn't have the Kirk Shiraka connection as far as getting recruited to or playing under Shiraka for 2 years the way Kaliakmanis did. And his path was a little more winding. Kaliakmanis went straight from Minnesota to here. Lonergan had gone from Alabama to BC, where he was a starter, to here. I think it'll be an interesting quarterback battle between him and AJ Serace. I think it's a true quarterback battle. I think, obviously AJ has the advantage of having been in Shiraka's system and learning under it for 2 years. Lonergan has the experience of playing college football as a starter for 1 year and being college football for another year than AJ. So should be a fascinating thing to watch in the spring, and I would anticipate going into training camp. So I think it's good. I think it's a positive addition for Rutgers. Are You Hoops Project says, Cal, yikes. I guess we don't have to worry about watching him light it up on national TV. No, I would say that, and certainly not. I wouldn't call Cal a big time program, but I could certainly see him. The same way that he had some big numbers at Rutgers. He didn't light it up nationally, but people that were paying attention knew he was good. I think he can showcase his skill set again because they have a good quarterback. They're playing in an accessible league in the ACC, and that's a nice way of saying the ACC stinks. And he'll, from what I can tell, I haven't done a deep dive. He'll have a chance to be the number one guy there, so he'll get the rock a lot. So I don't know what the financials are there. I imagine Cal did not go far above Rutgers' offering if they did. But I could see, I guess Notre Dame would have been a more splashy landing spot if he went there, but I think Cal wanted him a lot more than Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame, considering they were going to consider host of the week, was more keeping him on the back burner than making him a priority. But we'll see. Sorry, my throat's getting a little scratchy here. It feels a little bit like the lights over my head. Thank you all again for tuning in. Please please subscribe. We always appreciate you guys doing this. Check out Steve Pikiell's press conference. It's on the YouTube channel. I'll have a story up in the morning about everyone's reaction to the foul call and the meaning of the win. But yeah, until then, again, unless anyone has a last-second Hail Mary, I'll be signing out from the rack right now. Thanks again for participating, guys. Enjoy the win, the first win in quite some time for you faithful that are still watching and showing up. And I'll see you guys Thursday night after the game against Illinois. Good night. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Rutgers Rant, sponsored by the Heldridge Hotel. Head to NJ.com/Rutgers for more Scarlet Knight content.